All right, today we are going to be taking a look at Rory Sabbatini and a shot that he hit from this past week's Olympic Games. So let's take a look at this shot in full speed. So he's got 79 yards in. He hits about a 3/4 sand wedge, it looks like. Carries it just past the hole, spins it back, and it goes in. So needless to say, that was a perfect shot. And he's one of the best golfers in the world. So today we're going to look at 3 keys that allow him to execute this shot. He creates very, very solid contact, which is why that ball spins back when it hits the green, and he controls his distance very well. So these 3 keys are all going to be geared towards the purpose of accomplishing those 2 things. All right, so first key we're going to take a look at is his shoulder plane in the backswing. All right, so let's take a look at this video again. Pause it at the top here. Now, if I draw a line showing the plane of his shoulders right here, let's make that a different color so it stands out. There we go. So that's about a 35 to 40 degree angle right there. Now, most amateurs that struggle with ball striking, their shoulder plane in the backswing is going to look more like this right here. Why is that? That happens because most amateurs, they're controlling their backswing with their hands and their arms, versus someone like Rory, who is controlling his backswing only with the rotation of his chest and his shoulders. Now, here's a great drill for you guys to work on that if you find that you are somebody who struggles with a more shallow shoulder plane instead of a steep shoulder plane. If you put a towel underneath your armpits, like that, and you practice turning your shoulders in your backswing so that the towel stays under your armpits rather than this right here, with the armpits getting disconnected, that towel would fall out, and then you would have a shallow shoulder plane. If you practice turning your shoulders back where you keep the towel in there the whole time, your shoulder plane will look a lot more like Rory Sabbatini's here, and that will in turn keep your club on plane, which will help you hit more solid golf shots. All right, so that right there is key number 1. Now, let's take a look at key number 2. This is how he starts his downswing. So if we start going frame by frame here, and I get you to focus on a couple key things, his left hip and his arms as he starts his downswing, you'll notice that he starts his downswing with his left hip starting to open up towards the target, and then his arms naturally fall behind him. So this is a very different kinematic sequence than most golfers. Most golfers, they struggle with contact because their hips stay put and they pull down with their arms first. That's going to lead to a lot of bad things because at that point, now you're controlling the club with something that's on the outside of your body rather than the inside, the center of your axis. If you picture the golf swing like this, like a homemade compass, where at one end you've got a sharp point and then you've got a string, and at the other end you've got a pencil, right? As long as that sharp end stays anchored and then the string stays tight between the anchor point and the pencil, you're going to draw the same circle every time. But if that string loses its tightness and you start trying to freehand draw a circle, your circle is going to be all over the place, right? Okay, so same idea with the golf swing here. You want to control your swing with what's at the center. What's at the center? Your sternum, your chest, your hips. Now, if you let everything else just fall around that, kind of like the string and the pencil at the other end, then you're going to bottom out more consistently in the same point every time, and your contact's going to be really good. But as soon as you starting your downswing with your arms and your hands pulling down, now that string is getting loose, to use the compass analogy, and then your contact's going to be all over the place. So you want to feel like you leave your arms up and you start your downswing with your body rotating towards the target and let those hands just naturally fall behind you. I promise that's going to do a lot of good things for your golf swing. All right, last key I want to take a look at in Rory's shot here is the length of his follow-through. All right, watch this right here. So if we back that up just a hair, his follow-through finishes right about there. That's where his wrists are. His hands are just above that. They're about the same height as his shoulders. Now, contrast that with somebody who always swings 100% at every shot they hit. Their shoulders are going to follow through, their hands are going to follow through up here by their head, probably above their head. Why? Because they're swinging 100% at that shot. Now, generally speaking, most people, their contact is going to get worse and worse the harder that they swing. Now, especially with wedges, you don't want to take the shortest possible club and try to hit it as hard as you can. That's what most amateurs do. No matter what situation they're in, they try to take less club and swing really hard. That's not what the pros do. You can see Rory here. He cuts off his follow-through about 3/4 of the way through. It looks like he's only swinging at about 75% capacity. That's how you should hit your wedges. He's using probably a sand wedge here, and he's 79 yards away from the flag. If he really wanted to, I bet you he could hit this club 110 to 120 yards, but he's not trying to do that. He's only trying to hit it about 79 yards. So that is another thing that's going to help a lot of golfers out there. If you, especially with wedges, will just take a little extra club and swing about 75%, focus more on creating good contact and trying to hit it really hard, you'll notice the shots you hit are a lot better. So to recap, Rory does 3 things here really well. He's got a steeper shoulder plane going back. He starts his downswing with his body rotation rather than pulling down with his hands and arms. And he only swings at about 75% capacity. So those are 3 things that anybody can go work on in their next practice session that are going to pay dividends in your golf game. And maybe it'll even help you hole out wedge shots like Rory does here. That's it for now. Until next time, peace.